Will that be tied to like compensation? Will that be tied to bonuses? How far are we gonna take it?
Yeah, so right now it's really sort of, and I have to be really careful here. We don't want to scare people into thinking that these KPIs, especially because it's really our first attempt at it, right? There's a lot of learning going on, and to me, it's more important that we learn how to do our work this way than to be punitive about it,
Mhm.
right? Or use it as a performance management tool in that way. Because I can tell you, like, even in rolling out these 24, I've learned a great deal about the team, my strengths and weaknesses, their strengths and weaknesses. And so the idea is to get better, not necessarily to punish anyone or any college for the results. But now we know, like, where do we need to focus? And I would keep it more in the eyes of this is where we need to focus,
Mhm.
more so than this is going to be the financial reward or
Gotcha.
the employment consequence for that. Because I think by and large, all of our employees are here to do the thing, and that thing is these things, right?
Gotcha.
And so we don't really want people that are not intrinsically or internally motivated to do these things. Um, we want things to do these things because these are the things that are best for our employees and our students.
Sounds good.
Trustee Kane?
I really like your master plan. I think the goals that you've identified and the way that you've explained the KPIs, I really think that's first class. The only question I would have is, as you, as you go through this process, um, do you foresee that some KPIs that are not already a part of your plan may arise?
Yes, sir.
And as new ones could be added along the way?
Yes, sir. So part of what I have to do is I have to be really careful about, and the strategic plan talks about this, I have to be really careful about building capacity, right? So we don't want to reward, for lack of a better phrase, good performance with more work, right? Because I can tell you that if we get to year five, for example, and we have one or two of these that are not done, instead of coming up with new ones, I rather focus the entire institution on those one or two and finishing off this plan rather than sort of adding new ones. Because that goes back to we can't do all the things. And I've made a commitment to the institution that these are the things that we're going to do for the next 5 years. And so what will happen, I think, more to your point, initiatives can be put underneath.
And I guess where I'm coming from is that while these are absolutely outstanding, in the course of operations, it may be that something pops up
Yes, sir.
that hadn't been thought of earlier.
Yes, sir. And I can tell you, like, when I tell people we have 24 of them, people are like 24. Right. So the idea that we would have 30 would probably shock people even more. And then the other thing too is I just have to, like all CEOs and all chancellors before me, I want to do the thing tomorrow. But I have to sort of calm down and be a little bit more patient. So part of it is, I got to let these 24 ones go, figure out what we're doing. Because if it were up to me, it'd be like 50, 100, right? And so, yes, sir.
These are very good.
Well, thank you. Again, it was a group effort. Each one of these has a memo. Each one of these has back and forth between me and the steward. And so they're as much my goals as they are theirs and the rest of the systems.
Trustee Maria?
Yes, I think one of the common things we hear when we go on trainings or for trainings, the complexity or the changing of education and how we need to do things differently. So it's so easy to for uh for everyone to sort of like not want to change because we need to hang on, whatever. But you're not doing that. You're looking ahead. Um, we're do encourage risk taking. I can see there. I can see some of that. So in other words, we don't know where we're taking us, which can get a little scary sometimes. But as the board, I think we want to support you and to understand, where we'll understand that we're tweaking it, that we may have to change things coming forward. We don't have all the answers. Kind of took down some notes and sort of guiding principles and see if I can kind of get it right. So it's invest in people. Because that's the best way to be good stewards as a sport. Stay mission focused. Because it's best way to improve retention and completion. Okay, I like to simplify to amplify, read it somewhere. When you do things well. Create sustainable impact. And so when it comes to communications. And all that, that's gonna help establish your expectations. And finally, the building strong bid bridges. Creates opportunity and prosperity. I think that kind of,
Yes,
for
sir.
me, that spells it out.
Yes, sir.
Good job. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, trustee Stone. Any comments?
Yes, just excellent work, Chancellor. It's excellent work. Some of the best work I've ever seen in a strategic plan. It's really precedent setting in higher education. You know, it is, and it's a good, excellent example. So all else I have to say is carry on.
Thank you, trustee Stone. Can I ask one more question? I'm sorry.
Yes, sir. You bet. Trustee Mason.
Chancellor, how closely do these align, or how much did you factor in the Aspen price? Typicals,
The Aspen.
the Aspen
I can
price.
say that yesterday we met with Aspen. That was the group that we met with.
Good.
And they were real big fans of what we're up to. And I can say that Dr. Napolis yesterday morning presented to the THCB. And both the chair and the new commissioner were very impressed with what's
Not this chair.
the chair of the THC.
Thank you.
And so it aligns essentially, there's something in here for all those folks, right? So everything that we're doing with G2, for example, is directly tied to Aspen. G4, T2 is directly tied to HB8 and Aspen as well. And so is G4, T1, right? And this was part of the issue yesterday when we were meeting with Aspen. We were like G14, and the Aspen person's like, hold on, right? Like, what does that mean? Right? Because we're so used to the shorthand now, that we take for granted that other people are not. That's how locked in the institution is getting. So yes, sir, it's aligned with that. Awesome.
Can I ask you? I'm sorry. Chair, what you said. So every GT has a steward. So what is the positioning gonna be for Dr. Napoleon's stewardship?
So Dr. Napolis has the it's in G2, it's in G2, T4, I believe, G2. Let's see.
Be right there.
Yeah, there it is, G2, T4. Yeah, so Dr. Napolis has that one. What we will probably do is, and he has deputies, and Dr. Napolis reports to Vice Chancellor Molina.
Okay.
I understand that Vice Chancellor Molina will very soon here announce an interim vice chancellor,
Okay,
and that person will assume Dr. Napolis's responsibility.
okay. And then in the meantime, are we going, I mean, well, of course, you're gonna have to integrate the interim in or whatever. So are y'all prepared to work, like really like get down to it so they can catch up to whatever?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
So Dr. Napolis isn't leaving until the end of March.
Okay,
Dr. Napolis is not just a colleague, but a friend.
right.
And so I can tell you that, for those of you who know, Dr. Napolis is going to be the next executive vice president and COO of Del Mar College in Corpus.
Right.
So very happy for him, but Dr. Napolis is one of the best men I've ever met. And if we need any help, I'm sure he will give it to us. He cares deeply about this institution. And so we're not worried about that.
Okay.
He will be available to us to help us, and he's made that commitment as recently as this one.
Okay.
I was just gonna make a comment that I'm in my second term here as a trustee, so it's year 7, I guess. And I don't remember the focus on student success or a real plan to get there. I think in the past, there was just there were focus on different areas that we are still taking care of, that you're still guiding and leading us to. But we have a heightened focus on student success. From enrollment to retention to employment to tracking and then the alumni. And then you're also taking care of your employees as well. And you can't have success with one if you don't have success with the other. And I think you demonstrated measurable activities here that we all will benefit from, we being employees, faculty, staff, students, and then of course our broader community as well. We can't forget that. The students are going to go to work in our communities. They're going to go to work for companies that are here or in the region. And we already care about the whole region, Lone Star first, of course, but the entire region. So I think this is on a good track. I have a question that I think I'll save for closed session if you'll remind me, and then the board council can tell me if it's appropriate or not at that time.
Yes, sir. And actually, Dr. or Trustee Wilson, if you look at G3 Team 5, we will achieve a leadership pipeline where there are at least 1.5 successors identified for key positions. We have successors for every key position at this institution. And so that's exactly the idea, right? People ask, and it doesn't upset me at all. I'm very happy with Dr. Napolis. I hope that everyone leaves this institution at some point and goes to lead other institutions, because then we will be known not only as a premier institution, but an institution that produces great leaders that other institutions want. And so that's the idea behind G3 and T5 is we want our folks to move on. We want them to do what's best for themselves and their families and their careers. And then we have someone in the wings ready to take over for them. Okay.
Is there a part two or?
Well, that's that. I'm ready for closed sessions.
Okay, that'd be good. All righty, the Board of Trustees, in accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act, will move into closed session under one or more of the following provisions, section 551.071, section 551.072, section 551.074, section 551.076, and section 551.0761. We now move to closed session at 2:18 p.m.
Not yet.
All right, I reconvene the board, reconvene the board retreat meeting at 4:19 p.m. with no further business to discuss. The board retreat meeting is now adjourned at 4:19 p.m. Thanks, everyone. Great to be with you all. I think we got a chance for great presentations today by everybody. Appreciate it.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. See you tomorrow.
Okay, go ahead.